Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me for this session. So today's session, what we're going to do is we're going to do about Moodle Quiz. So the title itself says it's all about figures in Moodle Quiz. So what I'm going to cover today is I'm going to cover about some of the key and most useful information which you guys can practice when you are planning to conduct an exam in Moodle. So what are the options, what are the treasures hidden in Moodle Quiz I would be discussing in this particular hour. This is how I'm going to do this session. We're going to see about how to import and export quiz in 10 minutes. That's the time which I have allotted for that. And then we're going to see how to create categories in a question bank, which is done in the Moodle. And then I'm sorry about the repeating. And then we're going to see about randomizing quiz in Moodle. And then followed by that, we're going to have a user override settings, how to do that in a quiz mode. And then finally, we're going to see, I'm going to take some of your questions and I'm going to give you answers for all the queries which you have. So that's what we have for today. Without any delay, let me just start the session. Before I proceed with the demonstration, can you raise your hands if you are hearing me well, please? I just wanted to, yes, thank you so much, Mr. Helpin. Thank you. I hope everyone is able to hear me well. Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Dixon, Dr. Selva, Dr. Srilata. Thank you so much. All right, the step number one, what we need to do is we have to open the Moodle page. So I'm going to talk about how do we do the import and export of a question in Moodle. That's the first discussion we're going to have. All right, so I'm going to use one of the demo page, which is right here in my page. I'm going to use computer skills course. So first, let me explain you the format. And then after the format, I'll talk about the category. And then I'll show you how do you import the question. So the format, there are many formats which is available for the question import in Moodle. I'm going to show you a very simple one, which is actually easy for MCQ type of question. So that's what I'm going to show you first. All right, here we go. This is the format which you need to follow when you have a question. Ignore all these things. This is where you start. You don't give any question number. You start with the stem directly, and then followed by the stem, you put a capital letter A and a dot, and then the option 1, capital letter B, option number 2, capital letter C, dot, space, option number 3, and capital D, dot, space, option number 4. And finally, if you have more than 4 options, you can include that just followed by D. You can put E, F, etc. and follow the same. And finally, when you're done with that, you have to make the statement, or you have to put a word like answer along with the colon. Colon means just the 2 dots, and then a space, and then the right answer. So this is one format. And the other way of doing that is it remains the same without the number, the stem, and then you should have a capital letter, and then followed by the capital letter, a C bracket, a space, and the option. Then similarly, you can have capital B, open bracket, and C, and then you have the option, and C, open bracket, space, option, like that you can have. Finally, when you wanted to give the key for this question, you have to give answer all in capital letter. Please note that if you are not following any this format, then your questions won't be uploaded properly. Spacing is important. The case is important, like the uppercase and lowercase division. Difference is important. Any option you start, it should be capital letter. You can have a dot or a C bracket. That's up to you, but it should start with a capital letter. And then followed by that, when you are going to give the key, what you need to do is you need to give answers in all in capital. Please note that this is very important. For the key, the answer, word answer should be all in capital letter, and then put a colon, and then you have to give the right key. So this is how you have to make the format of the quiz. Now, after you can have a number of questions, like you can upload 120, 200. The number of questions in your document is not a big thing. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this format onto a Word document. So this is how you have to prepare. I'm going to create a new Word document. So this is my first question. And if you find some gaps and all here, you have to remove that. So I'm going to make it, as I know it is very small, let me make it big. All right, so here I have the stem, and then I have the first option, which is in capital, space, and dot space, the answer, capital B dot space, the answer, capital C dot space, the answer, capital D dot space, the answer, then the right answer. I'm going to duplicate that again, just to have 5 questions. So I'm going to, so between the question number 1 and question number 2, you should have a gap. So I'm going to give that gap, and then I have copied the questions here. Now, how do I find the gap, or how do I take care of the gap? In Microsoft Word, you have got a pretty easy tool, that's this. If you activate this function, you get to see where you have a spaces, where you have the paragraph beginning. So after a question, you should have a 1 paragraph space, and then the next question, 1 paragraph space, next question, 1 paragraph space, the next question. So this is the format which you need to do. Once the document is done, what you need to do is you need to go to the file and click on Save As. And then in the Save As format, you need to make it as plain text. That's this one, plain text. When you select the plain text, I'm going to say it as test, and then I'm going to choose a location for saving it, and then I apply the format. So the plain text is a format which you need to do. Let me do it once again for you. Go to the function Save As in your Microsoft Word, and then go to the file format, which is plain text. Give a name for your question. So I'm going to give class test 1. And then what I do is I will click on save. So it will ask me what encoding you have to follow. In this particular format of question, you need to go to UTF-8. So if you click on other encoding, you will find UTF-8. So this is the encoding you should have for the question. Let me do it once again for you. Go to the option, Save As, and then you need to click on plain text. That's right here. And then what you need to do is you need to click on save. So when you do that, it will ask you what encoding format you need to follow. You need to click on other, and then choose the option Unicode UTF-8, and then click on OK. Your question is ready to upload in Moodle. So this is how you create a format, or you create a bulk question upload format in your Moodle. So you can do it with Pages, you can do it with Microsoft Word, you can do it with Google Docs. The format which you have to follow is this: the stem, capital letter A, dot, or C packet, and then the option, and finally for the key, all in capital, colon, and then the D. So this is how you need to create your question format to upload in the Moodle. Now the format is ready. Before uploading the question onto your course or onto your page, I wanted to show you an important concept. That's the second part of the discussion, that is called as category. Normally what we used to do is you used to go to a question bank, you used to select on import, and when you click on import, it will give you an option for uploading the question. Before this step, I want you to do another important step, or I want you to include one more important concept here. That's called as category. If you ask me what's the advantage of category is, it will give you an easy way to pick up the question from the huge bank which you have got. Let's say you have got 3 class tests and a kind of mid-semester exam. So if you're doing without category, you will get confusion which question is where all that can happen. So to avoid that, what I have to do is I can create categories in my question bank. So when I click on categories, how do I reach the category is, if I go to my course page and click on the administration, you will find something called question bank. You have to open the question bank and you will find the categories. When you click on the categories option, what you get is you get to see this page. So by default, the name of the course will be appearing as a pattern category. I can create a number of subcategories here. I'm going to create a category called class test 1. And then if I wanted to have some information, I can do that. So I'm going to say that this includes all the questions of class test 1. All right, and then I will click on add category. So one category 1 is created. Similarly, you can have multiple categories. If you see here, for my course, I have got a category called 2, and then I have got a category called class test. Like that, many categories I have already created. So this is how you create categories. Now I'm going to, so this is a new one which I've created, class test 1. I wanted to have more. So I'm going to the name and say class test 2, and I'll say class test 2 questions. So this is as same as that of how do you create a subfolders in your computer. Very simple and very straight. Now the categories are created. All right. Sorry, I just had a look on the questions which just come up. Okay, so if you see here, I've got created 2 categories, class test 1 and class test 2. So there are 2 categories which is created. Now this makes your question bank very organized. And now let's go ahead and import the question. As you know, in my desktop, I have created the question like this is a question which I have created when we did the formatting. That is, from the Microsoft Word document, I created a kind of 5 or 6 questions, and I had saved it as a text file in my desktop. Now, how do we bring that to the course to a category? That's what we're going to see now. Now I'll go to my course main page. And now in my course main page, what I will do is I will go to the question bank. And then when I come to the question bank, I get to see this function called import. So when I click on import, what I get to see is I get to see a page like what is displayed right here. You have to choose the first format. This is the format which we have done the question. So you need to choose that. There are all these formats that are possible, but I felt that this is going to be a very simple format for MCQ type of question. That's why I'm just giving you like kind of demo on this particular format. Now, the next step, don't directly jump to the import option. The next most important step is you have to open the general section, and then you need to choose which category you have to add the question. So that's the reason I didn't directly go and upload the question. What I did is I wanted to show you the category, and I wanted to show you directly how you can map it. So I'm going to put this in the class test 1 category. And once that is ready, I'm going to click on the choose option. I'm going to choose the file, and the file has been saved in the desktop. So this is a file. I'm going to choose the file and click on choose. After I select the file, I click on upload. So it will appear the file name which you have given will be appearing here. Now go click on the import function. When you click on the import function, it will give you a preview which says that you have got 5 questions and all 5 questions are perfect. If you don't get to see this green, or if you don't see that 5 number of, if you have 60 questions And if you don't get the 60 questions as a preview right here, then you have to get back to your Word document and have a look on the format. If you have some problem in the format, it's not going to appear right here. I'm going to show you that in a while, how the error page appears. So right in my case right now, all the 5 questions are perfect. Now I'm going to click continue. Now when I click on continue, it says that successfully all the 5 questions are uploaded on the category. So this is how you import the question right from a Word document to a Moodle course question category. So if you can ask me, can I move from one category to other category? Yes, you can very much do that. You can select the questions either in 1 or 2 or all in bulk, and then you can choose the option which category you wanted to move, and then click on move category. So this is how you can move from one category to the other category. If you see right now in class test 1 category, I don't have any questions because I have moved the questions to class test 2 category. So this is how you can move the questions from one category to the other category. Now let's do a wrong entry and see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to miss this. I'm going to make some few changes here. I'm going to do some mistakes here, and I'm going to save this again. Save as. I'm going to show. Okay, this time I'm going to say error, or let's say that. Okay, class test error. Okay, I'm going to save this CE text in my desktop, and I'm going to save it. So again, it's going to ask you what encoding format. You should see the UTF-8 encoding is active, and you need to save it. Now I'll get back to my course page. I go to the question bank. I click on import. Now again, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to quickly go back to my class test 1 category, and then I'm going to import there. So let me just quickly go back to my course and do that. Okay, right here, I go to my question bank and I click on the import function. The similar steps which I just explained previously. I'm going to choose a first format. I'm going to choose a file. This time I'm going to use an error file. So this is the error file which I've created, and then I'm going to upload it right here. So there is going to be like all the steps are the same. Now when you come here, this is the error screen. It says that this type of question requires at least 2 choices. So if you in my document, I have added 5 questions. Okay, but what happens in my preview is I see only 2, and it throws an error and says that this type of questions has to have at least 2 choices. So that means there's some problem. How I do handle this kind of situation is, normally what I do is I copy this text for my easy understanding, and then I go to my Word document, I do a Control F, and then search for the word. So it shows me all the ways, all the words which has been searched by me. And now here I can see that, okay, I missed to give a dot here, so I put a dot here. Okay, that's done. Okay, so I'm not going to make any changes here. That's done. I'm going to make again a save as, and then I'm going to save the question as in the desktop, the same question. I'm going to do it. I'm going to replace it down, and I'm going to say okay. Now done again. Now I'm going to come back. I'm going to go back to my question bank. I'm going to click on import. I didn't continue so that it is not going to be entered. So I'm going to just select the question again. I went to CE, this has been updated. And then when I click on import, again, it's going to throw me an error because I have missed a dot there. Yeah, this is right here, but if you see here, this is wrong because the Moodle considers this as a question, not that's an answer. So this is something which you have to be really careful with. Right here, this Moodle is considering it as a question. So make sure that you avoid this kind of issues and problems, because the more clear you make the document, that easy is going to be the steps which I'm mentioning right here. So this is exactly what I wanted to show you. Now here, even though you made an error, it says that no error because the Moodle understands this as a question. So if you import this, it gets imported. So what I will do is I will go to general, I'll choose the class test1, and I choose the format, and then I say import. It's going to be imported without any problem. I'm going to continue that. Now, when I continue and get back to my question, if you see here in this question, there's a problem there because my stem, what I'm supposed to give, is not coming as a stem there. Rather, it's coming as a choice, which is actually wrong. So this is how you need to avoid. If you see here, I have missed the stem. The stem, the option number 1 is appearing as a stem, and then I have only 3 options coming up in the question. The reason for that is I did some kind of mistake right here. I didn't include a dot. I mean, I missed a dot, and because of that miss, it came with a wrong kind of question. So these are the problems you can normally encounter. So this is how it happens. So I didn't put a dot. So if you don't put a dot, then the Moodle takes it as a stem. So these are the common kind of errors which you can encounter while you are doing a kind of question import in Moodle. All right, so I'm going to just come back to my question, and I'm going to delete the wrong ones. So I wanted to delete the questions which I have in my category. So how do I do that is I go to the category, and then what I do is I'm going to, sorry about that, I'm going to the question bank, and then what I do is I go to the category right here, class test 1. And then when I click on category class test 1, it gives me only 5 questions. Now I'm going to delete that. So when I delete that, the question says these are the questions which is going to be deleted. I get the message, I can delete it. So by categorizing the question paper, you have got a great advantage to have formatting done, to have copying done, to have editing for only one particular question can be easily done. There are a lot of advantage. I think we should really incorporate that in our courses. Now, the next most important thing which I wanted to talk about is how to export questions. Because right now we are doing kind of, we are submitting questions to the assessment committee members, and how do I can take a preview of the question. So my recommendation would be you have to first of all make a kind of category for your mid-semester or end semester, whatever the exam is. You have to make a category for that. And now I'm not going to do that because I wanted to show you with some other example. Okay, I have got 40 questions here in my default category. I'm going to maybe I'm going to pick a few questions from here, push it to another category. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, I've got 10 questions. And then what I'm going to do is, and these 10 questions, I'm going to move to class test 1. Now, these are the questions which I'm going to give for the students for the class test 1, and I wanted this question to be reviewed by the committee member. So I've moved from my main bank to my main category, to subcategory. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to the question bank, and I'm going to click on the function export. So there are many formats of exporting available, but there is an option called print out for review. So if you choose the format and if you choose the category and export the question, what happens is in some time, in a minute of time, you can see that the question, I'm sorry about that. There's some small error, sorry. Let me just come back and see. Okay, right, sorry. Right, so print out, and then if you click on the category, it should work. And maybe it's trying an error. If it's trying an error, I'll show you some other method. All right, oh, okay, fine. Let's forget about the printout. Okay, let's go for this option, XHTML format, because this exactly comes as a printout. Forget about that. There's some problem in that particular database. So you have to choose the option, fourth one, XHTML format, and then you need to select the category and export the question. When you choose that XHTML format and import your question, you should see something like, okay, let me just quickly reset this. Okay, just give me a second. Sorry about this. Okay, let me just log out once and just quickly come back here. All right, log in. Okay. Right, let me show you the one which I have already downloaded. If you successfully download the HTML, this is how the question is going to appear in your downloaded file. It's an HTML question format, and these are the options which I have. These are the questions which I have exported from my question bank. And then this is exactly how the students are going to see it. So you can pick the options, right options, whichever you feel like is right for this question. And then finally, once it is done, what you can do is you can just save this question as a PDF. So what I'm going to do is I'm opening this. I have opened this in a web browser. That is, once the downloading is done, the file which you have downloaded will be open in a web browser. When I say web browser, it could be Firefox, it could be Chrome, it could be Windows Explorer, or it could be Safari. So any format, what you do is once it is downloaded, you can select the right answer and press on Control P, and then go for the option Save as PDF. And then what you can do is you can give a label for this, class test 2, and then the title can be also the same. I'm going to save class test 2, and then I'm going to save in desktop. Now, when I do that, and come back here in the desktop, you can see the class test 2 right here. These are my options which I have given, and this is how it is actually getting saved. So this is the one which I have done. Okay, now let me quickly go back and see about the side part. Just give me a second. Okay, let me just log in as a faculty and let me enroll to my course and show you the same. All right. All right. So let me go back to a course which I've taught. Let me pick the pharmacy course. I have a course in pharmacy, maybe in 2016. Fall semester 1, because I taught a course in information technology, computer concepts. Okay, I'm going to bring that course, and I'm going to show you. Okay, right here, I go to administration, and then I go to my question bank. I go to the questions. Okay, and then I say export. I'll say this format, and then I'll say maybe this one, export. It itself. Go back to the workshop, and yeah, computer skills. Let me go back here, get back to the question bank, get back to export, and then we can go to this one, and then I say export. And I'm going to wait until then. Yep. Okay, let me try this way. One sec. It's pretty unfortunate because just before the session, I just did this actually. Let me go back and see what happens here. Okay. Okay, perfect. So now what happens is it might be a problem with that course. Now let me get back to this, my course here. I go to the export option and I'm going to say print out, and then I'm going to pick these 3 questions, and then I click on continue. And then in the minute, it is going to ask you where you want to download it. You can click on download, and if you see here, you get this page. So I've got 3 questions here, and this is how it appears for me. Let me just do it once again, one more time for you, because there was some error which was throwing. I was not a faculty in that course. I was an administrator. So administrators if you're not a lead faculty, you may get that error, which I just had before. I just thought about that. Now here again, let me go to one more course and show you that. I'm going to pick on one other course. I'm going to the College of Dentistry. I'm going to pick another course and just show you the same. I go to DMD, and then I head off for a course in 2015, semester 1. I've got information technology there. I think I have a few questions there. So let me go to the question bank and see if I have few. Yes, I've got few questions here. It's all SAQ questions. I've got 7 questions here, and I think I don't have anything in class test. So I've got SAQ, so select the SAQ questions here. I'm going to say export, and when I click on the export, I'm going to go for the print out for review, and then when I click on export, it shows me the screen, and in a few minutes, it's going to ask where you want to save. I wanted to save this in my desktop, and when I click on save, it downloads a file right here. So this is the file which is giving the options and which is giving the what kind of question is it. All you have right here. So this says that it's an essay type question. This is an essay type question, and it's an MCQ question. So you can directly do a Control P, and then you can save as a PDF. So this is how you export the question in Moodle. I know there will be many questions, so I will take the questions, but let me just quickly continue with what is supposed to be there in the objective. I'll take the questions, follow up with that. All right, that's the third or the fourth objective which I have for you is when you create a quiz, how you can randomly pick the question from a category. Now, since we have learned about this, now the next part, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, sorry. Okay, right here, I'm going to get back to my course. All right, so here, we learned about the categorization, we learned about import, we learned about export. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you how randomly you can add questions to an exam. So right now in my class test 5, I've got 5 questions, sorry, class test 1 and class test 2, I've got 5 questions. So I'm going to create class test 2, and then I will follow the settings, these are the settings which we are very sure and which we are very good. So I'm just going to skip the settings very faster and directly go to the behavioral. This is something which I wanted to talk about. Please make sure that for the end semester exam, you're not showing the marks immediately. So just remove the mark immediately. You have to remove the marks, showing marks getting dispatched to the student. That's the one thing which you have to do. And always it's wise to keep a password for the exam. That's something which you have to really consider doing it. And now I'm going to say that this exam is going to be by today at 1:37, and it goes till 2:37. And then the timing of the exam is going to be like 20 minutes. I had covered this concept in my previous webinar. So I'm going to skip that, and I'm going to save and display. Now it's all set. On the next step, this is most important. What I've done is I've got 5 questions. I've arranged that 5 questions in a category called class test 2. In that 5 questions, I'm going to only pick 3 questions in my quiz. And these 3 questions should be randomly picked for each and every student. So how do I do that? I'm not talking about shuffling the questions inside the quiz. I'm saying that I have a category and I've got 5 questions, and in that 5 questions, I'm going to randomly pick only 3 questions for the exam. So I go to this option, add a question, and then where you will be able to find a random question, and then you will choose which category you need to do that. I'm going to say that this is going to be class is 5, and then the number of questions, I'm going to say it's going to be 3, and then that's it. If you do that and add random questions, what happens is it will show you a dice icon here, and then it will say randomly from class test 2 category, your questions are added. So this is how the random questions are added to your class test. Again, very simple. You have to go to, let me just delete it, delete this one by one. I'm going to delete it just to show you again how does it work. You create the quiz and click on edit, and then you click on add. And then what you do is you don't directly go to new question, you don't directly go to from the bank, you go to the option random question, and then you have to pick which category you need to choose and how many number of questions. And then you say add random. Okay, now once it is done, there will be 3 questions for this exam, and I'm going to say that you have to shuffle this. So shuffling, what happens is the question will be picked randomly, and inside it will go for shuffle. And when you create the questions by default, the shuffling of option is also activated, so you don't have to worry about that. Let me just quickly bring that back. So this is what I was talking about. If you get back to the question bank, and if you go for the questions, while you prepare the questions, when you go and edit a question, you can see that option by default it is active. So you should be careful if you're having something like all of the above, etc. Then it will be shuffled. So this option is by default active. So you don't have to worry about the options. Options is shuffled, and then in the quiz you say it's going to be shuffled, and on top of it you're going to randomly pick some questions from the bank, and then these many questions from the bank are going to be added, and then it will be randomly added to the classes number 5. This is exactly how you randomly add the questions to class test or to a mid-semester exam. Maybe for a big theory exam, it might be tough because you have to have the difficulty index and things and stuff should be kept. I think it could be a very good option for a practical exam. So what you can have is if you are doing a station by station, you can create 5 set of questions for station 1, 5 set of questions for station 2, 5 set of questions for station 3, and then each station you can say randomly pick 1 question from this category and add it to the quiz. That is how you can randomize the questions or randomly pick the questions onto Moodle Quiz. Last but not the least, the most important one, that is, how do we give user override? Once the question or once the quiz is through, or if when the quiz is happening, if your student says that I have some technical problem, I wanted to have an extension for the time, how do you do that, or how you can give that option is, the step number 1 is you need to go to the quiz where the student is taking an exam. I have got a final quiz here, so I go to the final quiz, and when I come to the final quiz, sorry, I didn't add any questions. So let's go to the class test 2. So I go to the class test 2 here, and in the class test 2, I've got 20 minutes available for the exam. Let's say that the student came late or student wants some kind of extension for the quiz. So what I do is after selecting the quiz title, I go to the administration of the quiz, and then I click on user overrides. And when I click on user overrides, it will give you a window where you can add user override. And when you click on add user override, you can select the student who requires override. For example, I have got, I'm going to give for Syed an override, and Syed says that he is not going to be available from this time to this time. So I'm going to say that he's going to take the exam from 2:37 till 3:37, and I'm going to make him only 10 minutes for this exam, and I'm going to keep a password for him. All right, like this. After doing this, I click on save. What happens is Mr. Said will have an override compared to the other students. For him alone, the question opens at 2:37 and closes at 3:37, and it will have an extension of 10 minutes. So for existing students, you don't want to play with the availability, you wanted to give an extension for the time, that's also possible. You go to add user overrides and then pick the student. I'm going to pick Wasim. And then as I feel that Wasim was not able to complete in 20 minutes, I'm going to give another 10 minutes extra for Wasim. I'm going to say that he's going to get another 10 minutes extra. So from 20, I made it as 30, and then I click on save. So by this way, you can extend the time for the student while the exam is happening. I think more or less whatever we are planned for this session, I have captured. Now it's a question time. Now let's do the same. Those who have questions, let me just, you can raise your hands and I will unmute you, and you can have the mic. Wow, this time I've got everyone with the question. So let me do it one by one. Show mics are open. Dr. Dixon, your mic is open. Hold a sec.
Morning, Mr. Suraj. How are you?
Good morning, Dr. Lamas. How are you? I'm good. Thank you, doctor.
Fine, alhamdulillah. Thank you so much for your presentation. You have clarified everything, but I just have one inquiry, because I was doing the same with some questions, but again, I noticed that they were not imported well in Moodle. So I had revised them in the same way that you have just clarified now, and I didn't see any errors or any mistakes, but still the system is not able to pick them up. So sometimes I revise them. I saw, for example, numbers written in numbers, not in words. Sometimes I see apostrophe. Sometimes I see a word except maybe. I didn't get the point. I didn't know what is the error is, but I had revised them and I was sure that everything is correct. And one more question, am I able to write, for example, a short case in 2 or 3 lines as a heading, or the heading of the question should be only straightforward 1 line?
Thank you, Dr. Lamas. Good questions. The first answer to your first question is, maybe if you have a special character for your question, that's the time it is going to give you some errors. That's the main case. You will end up in errors. Okay, Dr. Lamas. And
yes,
yeah. When okay, doctors.
I think there's some disturbance in, yes.
Doctors, the mics are all unmuted. Can you please self-mute your mic, doctor? Doctors, please self-mute your mic so that we won't have any disturbance during the session. All right, thank you, doctors. So, Dr. Lamas, the problem, as I told you, it could be something like, you know, when you have a kind of special characters, normally this kind of errors are shown. And my advice to you is, if you're creating a quiz, there is a new feature I recently incorporated to Moodle that's actually very simple and very easy. If you create a quiz which is having some special characters or special, let's say, an image. So how you can do it is, if you open the question, like create a quiz and choose a quiz and add it. Now, when you go for, so it should be a manual quiz, but normally what happens is If it's a very straight question, there won't be much sort of error and you won't have any confusion. But if the question is having some tables, if the question is having some images, what I would recommend is, I would recommend you to do this method. So I have got a question, which I'm going to add to my class test 2, and directly from Word. So if you see here, there's an icon right here, Word. So if you click on Word, and if you pick the question, so I think.
Hi. بس يا قديم if I join the meeting this one I will click وخلاص.
Doctors, I'm really sorry. I'm going to move everyone back because it is going to be terrible. It is a terrible disturbance happening. So I have muted everyone back. I will give you one by one, but I'm sorry about this. So Dr. Lamas, I know you. I think you can hear me well. So Dr. Lamas, what I do here is I picked on the question and I said that it is going to be imported from Word. I picked on Word and then choose a word. And then when I click on upload the file, what happens is the question with the image which I had in my Word document, it will appear as such. So that's something which you can try doing it, Dr. Lamas.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Suran. This will overcome all problems in the formatting of the question. So if my question is in the form of a case, short case, 2 lines in the heading, this will be overcome, sure.
Absolutely, Dr. Lamas.
Okay, I'll try it, and thank you so much for your help. Thank you, doctor. Thank you.
Yes, doctor. Thank you. Can I have questions from other people? Just can you raise your hands and then make yourself muted so that it will be easy for me. Okay, I'm going to unmute Dr. Asim. Dr. Asim, your mic is unmuted. All right, Dr. May, your mic is unmuted. Dr. Ratika, your mic is unmuted. Dr. Salma, your mic is unmuted. Dr. Priya, your mic is unmuted. And yeah, these are the hands which I have seen raised. Hello.
Yeah, hello, Mr. Surat. Good morning. First
Good morning,
of all, thank you for this presentation. I was already trying this import part, but for the export, I did not know how to do this. Import, I was trying earlier. And one of my questions, you have answered Dr. Lami's question. My second question is, when we choose a random question, say for example, I have 20 questions and I have selected 15 random questions. So out of all the students, all those students will get same 15 questions, or there will be 20 questions with different students. When I'm selecting random questions, so and I selected 15 questions. So only those 15 questions will be displayed to all the students in in different sequence, right?
Doctor, so if I get your question right, you have 20 questions in a category, correct?
Yeah.
And then out of that 20, you need to have only 15 questions for your quiz.
Yeah.
And then you're doing a random pick.
Yeah.
Okay, so in this case, what happens is out of 20, automatically system will pick 15 questions, and each student, like student 1 will have 15 different questions, student 2 will have 15 different questions. And if you ask me how it happens, it is system generated. Even you don't know which question is going to go for which student. That's how it has been said, Dr. Salma.
And I don't have any choice that what 15 questions I want to select. It will be randomly 15 questions by itself. I don't have.
Yes, doctor.
Yeah, it's going on side by side.
Thank you so much. This is only confusion I had. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Dr. Priya, I saw your hand raised.
Hello?
Do you have a question?
Hi.
Hi, Dr.
Suraj.
Desham.
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you. Mr. Suraj, I have a question regarding, so what you have said is for the options, the first letter should be capital, or is it small also possible? What about numbers?
It should be capital T.
But what about numbers?
As in, you mean the 1, 2, 3? That's not accepted, sir.
Yeah.
It should be
option,
like
for example, for me, for the statistics, you can see option may be numbers.
Okay.
For example, 2, 3, or 32, or something will get. So what happened?
Yeah,
It will accept or?
Yeah, you will put the capital A dot and then the number, capital B dot and then the number.
Okay. So the now one more thing. After that, each option there's a space is there or not? So
After each option,
in a demonstration what you have given now, so after each option you can see one space as well, right?
exactly, sir. You should have a space after each option.
Okay, fine. That also. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir. Just to answer your question clearly, sir, if you can see my screen, this is how it should be. The option, which is in capital, dot, and then if you see, this is a beautiful function in Word, which you can make your life very easy. If you pick on this inverted P icon, it shows where you have space, where you terminate the paragraph. So that will be an interesting option which you can try, Doctor. So first is a letter, dot, and then if you see a dot here, this means there's a space. And then the option, and then if you see this inverted P, that means it is terminating the paragraph. So if you activate this option, you can clearly get how it works. Sure. Dr. Jithaman, did I answer you?
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I got it. Thank you.
Any others would like to ask questions? So if you could raise your hands, I can unmute your mics and you can talk to me. I've got Dr. Kandasamy. Yeah, Dr. Kandasamy, your mic is unmuted.
Good morning, Mr. Suraj.
Good morning, Doctor.
Yeah, I just want to ask regarding the question name.
Yeah.
That question name, is it necessarily be only in numerical like 1 and 2? Or can it be area of question what I am putting like a preventive aspect or immunization for an example?
Sir, Doctor, is your question about bulk uploading or manual?
Pardon?
Is your question about a bulk uploading scenario or a manually when you add a question?
No, when we are taking from the word format, now we have to know that word format that way.
Let me just clarify you once again. When I say word, this is not a bulk option. This is just to set the stem in a proper formatting, because Dr. Lam was asking me that she has got some special characters and she wanted to include the special characters inside her stem. So what I did is I have created a manual question. I didn't go for the bulk option. So if you see here, I went for a manual option and then I picked the type of question, and then inside the stem, directly from the word formatting I have, I can include that in my stem. That's what I said. It is not like one from the word directly you can upload the whole question. That is not happening here, sir. To have a special characters, to have a pictures coming into the question stem directly, you should go for a manual entry of questions. And when you have a manual entry of question, the stem can take directly the formatting and the picture and the table directly from your word, and it can come up in your question stem. That is how it is, sir.
Okay. So the bulk is not possible here in this case.
No, this is not bulk, Doctor. The bulk is only with this option. Bulk is only with this option. So if you see here, I think in my the screen was not shared. So the bulk is this way. This is the way when you have to upload the question in bulk, you have to format this. Whereas in this case, what I did is I don't want to do a bulk. I have a question with the special characters. I have a question with some images and table and things which I have in a document. So I want exactly how I formatted in the document to appear in my stem. So that's the case where I will be using this, Doctor.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Suraj.
Thank you, Doctor. I've got a couple of questions here. Okay, I've got Dr. Jay Gumari coming in. Dr. Jay Gumari, your mic is unmuted. You can show the question.
Hi, Suraj. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Doctor. I'm good. Thank you, Doctor.
Okay. Suraj, I've got a question with regard to short answer questions, SAQs.
Yeah.
So when we give them SAQ, sometimes they need more space to write the answer. They may require.
Doctor, one second, doctor, one second, doctor. Okay, doctor, go ahead, doctor.
So this is
Sorry.
regarding SAQs. SAQs.
Yes, doctor.
Okay. So when we give them SAQs, they may require more space to write the answer.
Okay.
So how do we create that?
Thank you so much, doctor. Thank you for that question. Very good question, doctor. So how do you do that is if you go to the question bank, the SAQ question, if you are doing it manually, this is how you do that. You go to new question, and then when you open the new question, you get to see the option called essay, and then you click on add. So when you click on add, what you get to see is you get to see the page where you give the name for the question, you give the name for the STEM, and then you give the default mark for this question. And here you can increase a line up to 40.
Yeah, that's what.
This
Only
is
40.
Place. Yes, that's the maximum, doc.
Oh.
And also, if you wanted to have an attachment as a question, that's also possible. If you say that your question, the students should have an attachment. Let me tell you an example, doctor. You want them to do a kind of a sample recording of the case presentation, and you want them to attach as a small video or as a voice recorded file onto the question along with the answer. So in that case, you can have this attachment coming into the question, and then you can say that how many attachment is required, whether you're allowing it. If you say 1, and then if you say 40 lines, you can have 40 lines coming in, and also there will be an attachment place where the student can attach it. So let me show you a preview of how this question look like. Right here, I'm going to save the question, and when I come back here, if you see this question, and let me see a preview. Right. So this is how the question is appearing. So it is going to be a big place where the student is going to write the answer, and followed by the answer, you will have a place. They will have a place where they can do the attachment. But to answer your question straight, the maximum number of lines which you can have in a question is 40, doctor.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome, doctor. Okay, Dr. Priya, do you have a question? All right. I'm going to quickly go back to the questions which I have received as a message. I've got a question from Dr. Noha. Instead of writing capital letter, dot, space, make number and choice. Yeah, that's possible, doctor. But normally, if you're choosing the first formatting, which is there in the Ken format, then the format which I just showed you here, right here, this is actual format which you have to follow for the questions, doctor. Yes, doctor.
So I have one more question regarding So for we go to the question. The first one is question name, and then question text, and then options comes. The
yes, doctor.
bulk upload. This one, the upload. What we have put is only question text and the options. What about the question name then?
So normally what happens is the question name will be the STEM. What do you have given the STEM? By default, the system will take it as the name, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I've got another question from Dr. Selva. It says that, okay, that's about the screen part. Okay, I've got another question. Very good question. How to choose multiple overrides? Okay, so when I spoke about multiple overrides, I say it's possible to have overrides when the quiz is happening. So how do you do a multiple overrides? If you ask me, if you can see my yes, my screen is open. So if you click on the screen, and if you open the screen, what you see here is you see the quiz. So when you open the quiz, what happens is you will go to the option override, and what you can do here is you have to do it one by one. There is no other way, doctor. I think that's from Dr. Pratima. The question, the override can happen only one at a time. That's the settings how it is. Because if you choose this, I'm pressing control and choosing the other user, it's not happening. So it should be one by one, doctor. I have a question from Dr. Hiba. So if it's regarding the picture, just give me a sec. I have another question from Dr. Hiba, which says like how to upload the picture. Dr. Hiba, the best way to upload the picture for to minimize the problem is the method which I mentioned. Normally, when you have a question without any pictures and things, it's always wise to go for bulk upload. If you have a question with a picture, then what I would recommend is you have to create it in manual, and then you go to the multiple choice or whichever format is, you can go to that choice. And then what you do there is you can, in the stem, you can go for the option like here, the Word. So what you have to create a Word document which includes your question with the image, and directly you can upload it like what I'm doing right here. So I have a Word document which is with the stem and the picture. So if I upload this right here, you can see that the picture comes in with the text. So this is how it appears, Dr. Hiba. Okay, I have got another interesting question from Dr. Issa from pharmacy. Dr. Issa, the question is like, is there a way to insert a patient simulation in questions? Yes, there is a very good way to do that, but that is actually that depends on how do you set the question. So in my example here, if you can see my screen, yes. So if you can see my screen here, I'm going to the final exam page. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to insert questions. So when I insert questions, okay, so this is how I insert a question. I go to add, and then I say new question. And in the new question, I have option to add description. So when I go for description, like how we create labels inside the Moodle page, I'm going to say video. And then here, I've got an option to bring a video from the HTML. So you can click on the HTML, upload the embedded code from Google Drive or YouTube, and then make that as a patient encounter. And then after giving that video, let me see whether I can quickly show you that. So I'm going to my Google, and I'm going to bring my one of my video to show you what it can happen or how it can happen. I go to the video, click on this, and let's say this one. I'm going to, okay, let me go into the help file. And I'm going to share this, and then when I do, what I do is, sorry, I'm going to open this video, and then I go to this option, and I'll open the new window. So these steps I had already informed you how do we embed a code. So I'm going to embed this, and I'm going to completely copy this, and then go OK here, and then come back to my quiz. Come back to my question here. Then I say embed this code, and this code is set. So the video comes up here. So this is my video, which is right here. So I'm going to adjust the video, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this in my question. So this is the video, or this is the description which I have in my question. Followed by the video, I'm going to bring some questions in my in my quiz. So let's say that this video I've got 3 questions. So I'm going to add these 3 questions from my bank. And normally what happens is when you upload a question, it becomes as page 1, page 2, page 3. Now, if you click on this button, the page breaks will be removed and it will appear all in a single page. That means if you see a preview of this question, you can see that the video with the question comes in a single page. I think this will be a best option to do that, Dr. Isa. Thank you. Dr. Issa, did I answer your question? Okay, thank you, Dr. Issa. Is there anyone else who is having questions? Dr. Asim, your mic is unmuted, Dr. Asim. Okay, I have Dr. Ibrahim. Okay, Dr. Ibrahim. Dr. Ibrahim, your mic is unmuted.
Hello, Mr. Swaj, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, doctor. How about you, doctor?
Fine, alhamdulillah. Sorry, I didn't get how you use this video as information, not as a question. How did you do that?
Okay, let me just do it once again, doctor.
Yes, please.
First, let me just go back to the quiz and let me remove the whole questions which I just uploaded, doctor.
Okay.
Okay, let me go to edit question, edit quiz. And let me delete the questions. Yes. 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 And yes. Okay. Dr. Ibrahim, when you have an option like this, you cannot apply any shuffle. Okay, doctor? The shuffling is very tough when you have a video along with the question.
Yes, because question will come before the video.
Yes, yes. Yeah. So you have to click on new question. And when you click on new question, you have a place where you can do description. So click on description, add a description. So description is like a label or a kind of page where you can add anything. It could be an image, it could be a video. You can add anything, doctor. So I'm going to say that this is going to be station 1. And then here, if you go to video option, you can have a video, but that video will be, the size should be maximum 50 MB. If you have a video which is like more than that size, you can incorporate that directly from your Google Drive. So you go to your Google Drive, get your embedded code. This can happen from Google Drive. This can happen from YouTube. This can happen from any other video distribution software. And then I include that. So this is the video which comes into my course.
And this will work with lockdown browser?
Yes, it works with lockdown browser, doctor. Yes, it works with lockdown browser. And after the adding of question, the description, what I do is I pick some question from my bank. So I had some question which I had bulk uploaded. So these 3 questions I'm going to add it. Now by default, when you add a question onto your quiz, it appears in multiple pages. So I don't want that. I want this to be in a single page. So if you see here, there's an option to terminate the page break or remove the page break. If you activate that, all your question along with the description will be appearing in a single page, doctor. So this is how you do that.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Source.
You're welcome, doctor. Any other questions? Dr. Radhika, your hand is, your hand I see going up. So do you have any question, Dr. Radhika?
No, Suraj, everything is clarified. Thank you.
Okay, how about Dr. Priya? Dr. Priya, I see your hand risen. Do you have any question, Dr. Priya? Okay, I think I have covered almost everything what I want to give you for this session, and I hope it was informative. Practice this, and this can help you in a very good way to do your mid-semester and semester exam. especially the concept of exporting the question, because if you want to give a kind of question for a review to your colleagues or your assessment committee, that is a beautiful option. So that option comes up right here. If you go to export, and if you pick on the category, and if you choose the option like print out review, that's a beautiful one which we have in Moodle. So if you do that, automatically the page comes up, and then it will take a few minutes, and then it goes for the review. Sorry, this is because, as I told you, I'm not a course instructor in this page. So in my course, which I just showed you, I had this option. So go to the question bank, click on the export function, and then what you do is you go for the print dot and then say export, and then it will get in a few minutes, and then after a few minutes you get the option to save the question paper, and then this comes along with the answer and whatever question. And the other important function which I mentioned is about the categories. Category is going to give you a lot of, it's a time-saving feature in Moodle, which can easily pick which question which you had given for which exam. If you want to pick in a quick way, the category is the best option. And the other one, which is for the ones who are planning for the practical exams, the random pick question. So that's how you do it. And the last but not least, what I just mentioned about the randomized question pick. If you wanted to do that, you can do it. And oh, sorry, the last one which I mentioned is about the user override. The user override is a very important function which you have to really try it out before you give an exam, because that's the one which is going to give you option to override kind of timing and a date for the students to have an exam. I see one question coming up. Dr. Altai, your mic is open. Do you have a question, doctor? Dr. Altair, you have a question? All right, so this is what I wanted to give you, doctors, and thank you so much for having me today. I think we went 16 minutes extra time, but it was really worth of it, because I hope really you got the concept which I wanted to give you. So until and unless I see you with the next interesting webinar, take care and stay safe. And please ask if you have any questions, if you have any problem, please bring it to me. I'll try to come up with possible solutions and make your e-learning best as possible. Thank you so much, doctors. Take care.
Thank you, Suraj.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you, Dr. Ibrahim.
Thank you so much, Suraj.
You're welcome, doctor.
Thank you, Mr. Suraj. It was a very wonderful session. I learned a lot of good things. Thank you.
You're welcome, Dr. Kishore.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Suraj.
You're welcome, Ms. Sophia.